Hello, student. Now we come to chapter 10. We are going to learn what does it mean by B2B e-commerce in supply chain management and collaborative commerce. Learning objective for these chapters, you will learn how businesses use the internet to improve purchasing, logistics, and other support activities. Okay. How the internet facilitates implementation of outsourcing and offshoring business strategies, and how electronic data interchange (EDI) works and how it has evolved using internet technologies. Okay, EDI, right? Okay, and also what supply chain management is, and also how businesses are using internet technologies to improve it. Right, so we learn what does it mean by supply chain management and how businesses are using internet technologies to improve it. And how the various type of online business marketplaces operate to make B2B transactions easier and more efficient. Online business marketplace. All right. Okay. So after a year of working in Ghana, this is a case studies. After a year of working in Ghana teaching English, Leila Jana started Somersaults in 2008, right? A company. This is a place. Okay. It links workers in developing countries with companies who need work done, right? Has lifted more than 6,500 Africans, ASEAN, and Haitian workers above the poverty line, right? So cost effective for businesses and build workers' knowledge and skill in less developed countries and give low-income workers in developed countries similar opportunities. Okay, so use of the internet to do good around the world. Right, so this is one of the case studies. All right. Okay, now we're going to talk about what does it mean by outsourcing and offshoring. Okay, outsourcing is using other organizations to perform specific activities. Okay, so typically used for manufacturing. Means outsource. Outsource means the current company actually do not have enough capacity and they're willing to actually get other company to support them. Right, means they would like to extend the current capacity to the other company because of the limitation of a current capacity, right? So this one normally happen in manufacturing company. Okay, so offshoring is outsourcing done by organizations in other countries. Okay, so outsourcing done in other country, that's what we call offshoring. Right, done by organizations in other countries. Okay, so business process offshoring include purchasing, research and development, record keeping, information management. Right? So impact of sourcing. Smart sourcing is offshoring done by or through or non-for-profit organizations. Okay, so typically outsourcing is a common term of outsource something to other company. But when we talk about offshoring, means outsource by outsource activity done by the other organizations in other countries. right? Okay, so what are some of the purchasing activities involved? So identify and evaluate vendors, select specific products, place orders, resolve any issues after receipt of goods or services. These are some of the typical activities. Supply chain is the part of industry value chains proceedings, a particular strategic business unit. So it includes all activities undertaken by every predecessors in the value chain to design, produce, promote, market, deliver, support each individual components of a product or service. Okay. Okay, so means all the activities, okay, in what we call value chain, to design, to produce, to promote, to market, to deliver, to support each individual's component, either product or services. Right. So this is a typically supply chain management activities. Okay. So traditionally, purchasing department buys component at lowest price possible via bidding. Okay. So procurement includes all purchasing activities, monitoring all purchase transaction elements, and managing and developing supplier relationship, also called supply chain management. So typically, procurements include right purchasing activities, right also sourcing activities, and purchasings, both source and purchase, and also develop supplier relationship. Okay, develop supplier relationship to monitor, to evaluate, to keep, to maintain a good supplier, right? Is very important in procurement. Okay, so procurement staff have high product knowledge to identify and evaluate, right? As just I mentioned, evaluate appropriate suppliers. So sourcing is identifying suppliers and determining qualifications. And e-sourcing is the use of internet technology in sourcing activity. So we shall focus on e-sourcing now, right? Or sometime available or provided by e-procurement platform, okay, like Alibaba. Okay, you can actually just go to alibaba.com and then you can source for various suppliers from different industry and also different kind of products as well. Okay, so business purchasing process is more complex than most consumer purchasing processes, right? So spend is the total yearly dollar amount for goods and services purchased. Managing spend is an important function and can be a key component in overall profitability, right? So these are some of the steps in the typical business purchasing process. Okay. So when talk about purchasing, what they purchase, right? They purchase direct and also indirect materials. When we talk about direct materials, that become part of finished product. Any material actually to build out, right? Directly build out the finished product, we call it as a direct material. Example, raw material, right? Raw material to build out, right? The final or finished product. So direct material purchasing, replenishment purchasing, or what you call contract purchasing. Company negotiates long-term, right? Long-term material contracts. Okay. The other type is spot purchasing. Purchases made in loosely organized or what we call spot markets. Okay. So means this one just on demand purchase. On demand purchase only. Okay. When demand come, then buy. So if demand exceeds contract purchasing estimates, okay, so means on demand purchase only, right? No contract, okay. So indirect materials are all other materials company purchases. Okay, any other than direct materials, what we call as an indirect material, include factory supplies and also replacement part, or sometimes we call it as a maintenance, repairs, and also operations, or in short, we call it as a MRO items, right? Or machineries. Okay, as just I mentioned, maintenance, repair, and operating supplies are indirect material purchase on a recurring basis. Standard items, or what we call commodities, with price as main criterion. Okay, purchasing cards, or what we call P cards, allow manager to make multiple small purchases with cost tracking information sent to procurement. Okay, but of course, this is optional, right? Some company they're using purchasing cards to allow managers to make multiple small purchase, right? With cost tracking information, right? Some company they say, manager, I give you 500 ringgit, okay? So you can make small purchases, right? And then you click, you provide report. I give you 500 ringgit petty cash. Then later you report it, right? You provide report. Okay. So logistic activities. Classic objective of logistic activity is to provide the right goods in the right quantities, in the right place, at the right time. Okay, right goods, right quantity, right place, and also right time. But of course, some have more than 1, 2, 4 rights, right? Some they talk about 6 rights as well. Okay, managing materials, suppliers, and so finished goods. Web and the internet providing increasing number of opportunities to better manage activities, right? So third-party logistics, or what we call 3PL in short, providers operates a customer's material movement activities, right? So this is also outsourced company, right? Outsourced company, or what we call it as a 3PL or third-party logistics providers. Okay, so marriage of GPS and portable computing. So the integrations between GPS and portable computing with the what's it called internet is an example of second wave of e-commerce. Okay, so means customer and seller able to provide the accurate location of the goods while in transit, right? So that good for what is it called? Good for transportation planning. All right. So third wave of e-commerce supported by smartphone, right? Right. So smartphone means using mobile apps for tracking purpose. Right. So business process support activities. What are some of the business process, right, in the company support those e-commerce activities? That's just how we mentioned. Right. Finance and administrations, human resource technology development or IT. Okay, as a supporting functions. Okay, so human resource, payroll, retirement plan, servicing often outsourced by small or mid-sized company, right? So common support activity is training as well. Training may be handled by human resource department or individual departments, right? So knowledge management is the intentional collection and classifications, disseminations of information about a company and its product and processes. Okay, so knowledge management, right? To train people, to get people actually reduce their gap of knowledge. Okay, so all this activity actually is to build up a talent to in the company to build up to have more effective and more efficient way to manage product and processes in a company, right? So these are the some of the finance and administrations. Okay. finance and administrations, right? Human resources and technology development. So making in finance and administrations, making payment to suppliers, processing payment from customers, right? These are some of the typical activities in finance and administrations. And human resources, hiring employees, training employees, okay? Technology developments, IT, creating and maintaining virtual cooperative, right? So important here is to create virtual cooperative research work group, right? How to integrate each other and also integrate with supplier and customer as well, right? All right, so next, e-government. Right, so what does it mean by e-government? Use of internet technologies by governments and government agencies. Okay, so enhance functions performed for stakeholders and business-like activities operations. Right, so US government financial department management service SMS use pay.gov to handle, right? Like in Malaysia, our government also provide online payment as well for certain services, right? Okay. So network model of economic organizations in purchasing, right? Supply web, in short, we call supply web. So trend in purchasing, logistic and support activity is a shift from hierarchical structures towards network structures, hierarchy structures towards network structures, right? So procurement departments being given new tools to negotiate and possibly form strategic alliances. So supply web is replacing the term supply chains, right? Parallel lines interconnect to form a web or network configuration, okay? So that actually is a root of web technologies for B2B transaction lie in the hierarchically structured approach to interfirm information transfer, or in short, we call it as electronic data interchange, EDI. Okay, so supply web basically is to replace a supply chain. Right, supply chain typically used in e-business. Right, so supply web is referring to getting things, source items online and get things transferred from location to their locations, and also using certain technology, right, such as like electronic data interchange. Okay, so these happen in B2B transaction, right? Quite successful business to business transactions. Okay, so manufacturer, supplier sell to manufacturer, manufacturer sell to distributor or retailers. Okay, so electronic data interchange, EDI, computer to computer business information transfer using a standard format. Businesses exchanging info are trading partners, right? EDI compatible firms exchange data in specific standard formats, often transaction data, but can include other information related to transactions, right? So basically exchange data, right, in a specific standard formats, okay? So data can exchange, right, to create a form, standard form, right, standard form. Okay, so this is what we call exchange data. So you key a data, I key a data, then combine it in a form, right, in a, what we call standard form. Okay, so often transactions data, but can include other information as well. Okay, so most B2B e-commerce adapted from EDI or based on EDI principles. Okay, so dominant technologies for electronic B2B that become dominant technologies, right? EDI. Okay, so purchase order no longer in hard copy. They can using web, or what we call supply web, and then key in, and then they will get the standard forms, right? Okay, early business information interchange efforts. So let's look at the history of early business information interchange, how they exchange informations. So the need to create formal business transaction records begin in the late, wow, it's quite long time ago, 800 1800s and early 1900s. Okay, so companies were using computer for recording internet transaction by 1950s. Okay, so information flows between companies and on paper, which was very slow, inefficient, redundant, and reliable. Means an error, right? Error tends to create error, what we call human errors happen. Right? So in the 1960s, businesses with volume transactions exchange info on punch card or magnetic tape. Okay, so these are some of the early, right, technology. So in the 1960s and 1970s, technology improved and intercompany information could be transferred over telephone line. Right? So later they can transfer data over the transfer line by using modem. Right? Modem. Okay, modem. Right? So modem means telephone, internet. Right? So have to dial up. Right? It could be dial up connections. Okay. So information transfer agreement between trading partner increase efficiency, but not ideal. Right? What happened initially? Okay. So increased efficiency means the data can transfer from one location to the other location efficiently, but not ideal. What does it mean? Because of incompatible data translation delimited participation, right? So means that they're having incompatibility, right? So they want to join the data from various source, right? Standard form, right? So they're having what we call the compatibility data translation, how they translate the data, right? So they're having problem because of the technology not really there, right, in early days. Okay, so freight and shipping companies joined together in 1968 to create a standardized information set. Okay, what they do, they use a computer file transmittable to any freight companies adopting the standard. So benefits limited to members of industry that created standard setting group, right? But the limitation is only they limit it to the member of the industry only. Okay, so full realization of EDI economics and efficiencies require standards for all company in all industry. This is the ideal one. Okay, so the objective have to be fulfilled. Right, so the objective, this is the final objective. Okay, so final objective is to have a full realizations, means that implement the EDI, right, in all company, in all industries, right? That is objective, the main objective. Okay, so what happened next? Emergence of broader standards, right? The birth of EDI. So American National Standard Institute, ANSI, is the coordinating body for standards in the US. So later there is one body or one institutions come up with a global standards, right? So accredited standard committee, okay, ANSI, develop and maintains EDI standard. It's something like ISO standard, right? So that is only way when you come up with a standard, all the companies in the world, all industry, actually, they use the same standard. Then easy for data exchange and also integrations. So Data Interchange Standards Association, right? DISA is the administrative body coordinating, right, this kind of activities, right? So transaction sets are names of the formats of specific business data interchange, right? So they come up with standards, okay, right? So only with a standard you can do a proper integration and also exchange. All right. So how EDI works? Let's look at how EDI. This is important for B2B. Okay. So basic idea, very straightforward, right? But implementation very complicated. Why? Because of the IT. Okay. Example, company replacing metal cutting machines. Right? So steps to purchase using paper-based system and also steps to purchase using EDI. We look at these two systems. One is paper-based, another one is totally paperless EDI. Okay, so paper-based purchasing process, buyer and vendor not using integrated software for business processes. So each information processing step result in paper document. Okay, so must be delivered to department handling next step. So the paper must transfer or hand over to the other department to further process and again handle to other department as well. Okay, so paper information transfer by using mail, courier, or even using fax machines, right? Fax machine, right? In those early days, fax machine is very, very important because once you fax, you can get the hard copy. Right? Today we don't see that because we can send document by email, by WhatsApp, and immediately you can see, you can save. But fax, you cannot save, right? You have to scan one more time. Then only you can save in the computer, right? So let's look at the diagram, okay? So information flow in a paper-based purchasing very complicated, right? Many steps, okay? Many steps, okay? And inefficient, right? Because too many steps, okay? So let's look at EDI purchasing process. So mail service replaced with EDI network data communications, right? Rather than sending email, right? So you actually create EDI networks data communications. Okay, so paper flows between buyers and vendors organizations replaced with computers running EDI translations software. Okay, so information, right, flows, right? Let's see. Okay, so as compared to just now, right, so many activities, right, have to transfer there and here to get approval, process approval, but in EDI, by just using EDI translator computer, both parties, either buyer and vendor, they can actually join a networks, right? They can join a network, right? So this is to produce a standard format, okay? Standard format. So less transactions. What kind of transaction? Physical transactions, okay? More online data, right? Transfer, all right? So less physical transactions, more online data transactions, and you can keep it immediately, save it, and the final output is in a standard format. Okay. So value-added networks, VAN, as you studied before, VAN. So the trading partners can implement the EDI networks and EDI translation processes in several ways. Okay, let's see. Each ways use one or two basic approaches. So direct connections EDI require each business to operate its own on-site EDI translator computer. Right, so connected directly to each using list line. Okay, list line important because the data can be processed immediately. Okay, and stable. Right, line is a stable and more dedicated. Right. Okay, so few companies use direct connections EDI because dedicated list line are expensive. Okay, expensive. Okay, only few company, one big company afford to use dedicated list line for direct connections EDI. Right? So direct connection EDI using list lines, right? For high speed data transfer, but expensive. Only few big company afford to use it. Right? So company may use a added networks or VAN to receive, stores to forwards electronic messages which are containing EDI transaction sets. Okay, so with the indirect connections EDI, trading partners use VAN to retrieve EDI formatted messages. So must install compatible EDI translator software, right? EDI translator software. Okay, so trading partner pass messages through the VAN instead of direct connecting computers, right? So you have to pass through a server. Okay, so the sender's computer or receiver computer, they must have EDI translator software. Okay, so there is an interchange server to receive and to deliver to the final destinations, right? To connect seller and buyers. All right, so we end here. Okay, so just now, by using this line is direct connection, but very expensive, right? So by using VAN or value added networks, it actually share with different seller or buyer, right? So the cost of implementation is lower than direct connections. Okay. So advantages of VAN: need to support one communication protocol, and the VAN provides translation between different transaction sets. Right? It willing or able to do a translation between different transaction sets, EDI transaction sets. Okay. So when VAN performs automatic compliance checking and record message activity in an audit log. Okay? So it helps establish non-repudiations. What does it mean? Ability to establish that a particular transaction actually occurred. Okay? So to prevent data loss. Okay? So cost used to be a disadvantage, now much lower. Okay, so now become common and the cost also lower. It turned to lower cost now. So internet presents a low cost communication medium used by VAN services rather than using dedicated line, expensive list line, right? So using internet, right? It can be shared by different customer and buyer. So EDI on the internet called Internet EDI, Web EDI, or Open EDI. Okay, all right. So EDI payments, EDI transaction sets provide instructions to trading partners bank. Okay, so it can provide certain services such as negotiable instruments, the electronic equivalent of checks. Okay, so means now check can using EDI to transfer. Okay, with a trading partners bank. Okay, so electronic fund transfer, EFT, is the movement of money from one bank to the other bank, okay, using EDI. So executed using an automated clearinghouse system, which is used by service bank to manage account with each other, right? So bank, so example, you bank in public bank check by using many banks ATM machines, right? Or check deposit machine, right? So different bank, they still can actually transfer information, right? They just transfer information. The check will move from this machine to the other bank's machine, but the data, once they verify, authorize, right, the information can be transferred and to update the other banks and accounts of the customer. Okay. So supply chain management using internet technology. How actually internet technology can improve supply chain management? So supply chain management is the job of managing integrations of company, supply chains management, supply management, right? Supply management, and also logistic activities. So across multiple participants in a particular product's supply chain. Okay. So ultimate goals is to achieve higher quality or lower cost product, right? Higher quality and lower cost of product at the end, right? From supplier up to customer. Okay. So what they want is lower cost, a lower cost, higher quality. Okay. So this is ultimate goal. Okay, so value creation in the supply chain. What are the value created? Okay, engaging suppliers in cooperative relationship, right? Cooperative relationship can lead to better, faster, cheaper service to customer. Okay, so companies goes beyond its limit and creates a new network form among members of the supply chain. Right, it can create a new networks, right, to form among members. What are the members? Right, like manufacturers, suppliers, distributors, customer as well. Right, so of course, use of technology to improve operational efficiency is supply chains competition. Right, so which company able to use technology to improve their operational efficiency, they will win in the competition, right? Because they can lower down the cost, they can deliver things to the market in very short lead time, right? So that is the money. Okay, they can save costs, right, and save time as well to be more competitive. So what they can do is they can help implement management techniques such as just in time, right? Can reduce inventory, lower down, the stock. Okay, don't keep too much. Okay, and also lean production focus. Okay, lean production, reduce the waste. What does it mean waste? Waste of keeping higher inventory, waste of sending goods which is not, or buying goods which is not or unnecessary. Okay, so focus on eliminating waste and unnecessary processes, right? So originally developed as a way to reduce costs, right? But now add benefit to the ultimate consumer as well. Okay, so consumer also benefits from the what is called just in time, because short lead time. So e-commerce, what they compete which one able to actually deliver product to customer in short lead time. Right? Customer is very demanding today. What they want is, I want it as soon as possible. So supply chains, they have to create value, right? Create value. Okay, so require establishment of long-term relationship with a small number of capable tier one suppliers, right? So they have to work very closely with tier one supplier who are the main supplier in the markets. Right? Why? Right? Because the tier one suppliers develop relationship with tier two supplier who provide component of raw material. Right? If tier one can have good management, right, they able to actually more get quality raw material to build out product, right? So tier three supplier provide component of raw material to tier two suppliers. So these are the whole change, right? Okay, the whole chain means keeping a good qualities, right? So means the relationship to understand each other is very, very important, right? Why? Because the qualities requirement have to transfer from one tier to the other tier, right? Okay, so the key elements is trust among the supply alliance, right? Trust, okay? So buyers expect annual price reductions, qualities improvement from suppliers at each stage. So ideally, each level of supplier can share the benefit of reduced cost and more efficient operations, right? So a good relationship able to help supplier to improve, right? So once a supplier improve, supplier actually reduce their operation costs and they actually can pay back to the buyer, right? As well. So buyer get a good quality product and also with a lower purchase price, right? So ultimately, consumer actually get the best from the e-commerce company, right? So the key coordination efforts is a consistent production strategy adopted by all supply chain participants. So how competitive advantage is achieved, such as efficient processing or market responsive flexibility, right? Flexibility. Okay. So a clear communication and quick response are key elements of successful supply chain management. So what e-commerce company have to do? What they have to do is they must integrate a system which can provide real-time communication, right, with customer and suppliers, real time, right? So whatever changes can be updated to various party, okay, and also the receive the response from the other party, right, are key elements of successful SCM. Okay, so adaptive supply chains exist when company use technology to quick response to change in market demand and also supplier conditions. What happened in the market demand today? I want to know immediately. Okay, so I also want to know what happened to supplier. What supplier able to supply on time or unable to supply on time? What is their location of their transport, right? Where is it? Okay, so it led to higher efficiency, lower cost, and also greater profits, right? Okay, so some other benefits: trading partners between a supply chain can share information about changes in customer demand, okay, and also receive rapid notifications of product design changes and also adjustments, and also provide specifications and drawings more efficiently, increase the speed of processing transactions, okay, reduce the cost of handling transactions, reduce errors in entering transaction data, and also share information about defect rates and types, and also for better coordinate shipments with logistic partners, right, and each other. These are some of the advantages by using internet technology. Not just supply chain, SCM, but SCM plus IT, right? These are the benefits can be achieved. Okay, so increasing supply chain efficiency and cooperation, what will be the impact? Okay, by using internet and web technology to manage supply chain can actually increase in efficiency and cooperation throughout the change, right? So by increase the process speed, reduce cost, coordinate design effort, and also increase manufacturing flexibility, right? Flexible. I don't need to actually force my team actually to build up to keep high inventory, high stocks, right? But now because information flow to the company actually in real time manner, right? So you the production actually do not have to produce buffer stock, okay, to prevent out of stock because information every day received on time, right? So allow response to changes in quantity and nature of ultimate consumer demand, right? Just I mentioned, right? They will get this information as soon as possible. Okay, using internet technologies as Boeing, right? Boeing, right, aircraft company, and others firms do to integrate the design, development, construction, testing, and also refinement of products is called, what we say is collaborative commerce. All come together, work together in one platform. Okay, that is collaborative commerce. Okay, so materials tracking technologies, challenging tasks to track material, right? To track material, where is the material? How is the material status? Okay, as they move from one company to another company or within a company. Okay, so optical scanners and barcode, right? These are some of the traditional technology. Track movement of material and integration with EDI is now prevalent. Okay, so manage inventory flow and forecast material needs across, right, supply chains. So real-time location system must come in. A barcode tracking system used by fulfillment centers, right? Real-time location, example RFID, right? Barcode you need a device scanners, right? Manual is too manual, but RFID, right? It can provide real-time location, right? For goods within a company, right? So second wave of electronic commerce include new type of tracking integrated with internet-based material tracking system, right? Okay, so you have RFID. If you have RFID, just within a company to tracking, but anything beyond company, right? Outside company, you must have Internet of Things by using GPRS and also sensors, right? Right. Okay. So let's talk about RFID first. RFID is a small chips using radio transmission track inventory quicker and more accurately than barcodes. Okay. So active RFID have their own power supply sending signal back to the server, the system. But passive RFID tags are inexpensive and small and do not need a power source. So passive RFID is more popular, okay, because less expensive. The goal is to help reduce lost sales from stock out. Okay, so they can actually know where is exactly location of the products between a company, right? So better inventory management, right? Okay, so this is a typical passive RFID tags, all right? So creating an ultimate consumer orientation in the supply chains. One main goal of supply chain management is to help each company focus on meeting needs of consumers at the end of the supply chains. Right? What is the final objective? Okay, right? What is the final objective? By creating an ultimate consumer orientations, right? Okay, trust is the main important, right? The right elements. Okay, so major issues in forming supply chain alliances is to develop trust, right? To develop trust. Okay, so the key elements are continual communications, right? And information sharing. Keep informed, update, keep update, and communicate, right? Update, share, communicate, right? So buyer and seller actually receive latest information, right? Whenever changes happen, right? So internet and the web provide excellent ways to communicate and share information, and also offer new avenues for building trust, right? So provides easy, inexpensive contact with customers, right? Always contact customers, right? And also give buyer instant access to the sales representative, right? Okay, easier, instant access, and also provide comprehensive information as soon as possible, quickly, right? So online business marketplaces and portals. What are some of the business marketplaces and portals? Okay, so vertical portals are industry-focused hub. Okay, offer marketplaces and auctions for contact and also business transactions. Okay, doorway or portal to the internet for industry member. Vertical integrated. Each hub services just one industry. Right? Vertical portal. Normally, industry focus. This type of marketplace or portal. Industry focus. Right? Example, car industry. Right? Food industry. And so on. Okay, so independent industry marketplaces. First, vertical portal were trading exchanges focused on a particular industry. Independent industry marketplaces, right? They focus on a single industry, just now I mentioned, like car industry, all this. So independent exchanges not controlled by established buyer or seller in the industry. Okay, okay. All right. So controlled by this provider, right? The e-commerce platform provider, but not established buyer seller, right? So means in between there is a exchange. Okay, so buyer and seller, right? Controlled by exchange, right? E-commerce company. So public marketplaces open to new buyer and seller to jump into a pool to compete, right? So by mid-2000s, more than 2,200 independent exchanges. Right, today, fewer than 100 industry marketplaces still operating due to lack of profitability. Right? Okay. So these are some of the right history. Okay. Right. So private stores and customers as portal. Last established seller failed industry marketplaces would dilute their negotiating power. Okay. Okay. So this is a fact. They feel why industry marketplaces would dilute their negotiating. Means why? Because the price now transparent. Right? Price is transparent. Price is transparent. Okay, so many had already invested heavily in website they believe would meet the customer needs better. All right. Okay. So how about private company marketplaces? Large company purchasing from relatively small vendors exert power in purchasing negotiation. Right? Small company, but they have power in negotiations. So e-procurement software allow companies to manage purchasing function through the web interface. Right? So automate authorization, other steps, and also usually include marketplace function. Right? They provide certain value services. Okay, so when industry marketplaces open for business, these large companies were reluctant to abandon their e-procurement software investment. So what they do, they force suppliers to deal with them on their terms rather than negotiate with industry marketplace, right? So private company marketplace is a marketplace providing auctions, right? Requests for code posting, other features similar to those of e-procurement software, right? Quite similar. These are some of the value, right? Okay, so many have expanded to include functions allowing supply chain participants to manage multiple functions, right? So manufacturing, tier 1 or tier 2 suppliers, distribution center, transportations, orders, and also invoicing and payment, right? These are some of the multiple functions available. So expanded arrangement are called private industry networks. Okay. So moving to forward, the big company actually deform a network called private industry networks or private trading exchange. Okay. They have their own territories, right, to link up supplier, right? So manufacturer provide a system, and also they link up distributor and also retailer, right? Retailer as well. Okay. So industry consortia is a sponsor marketplaces. Okay. So some companies have strong negotiating positions, but not enough power to force supplier to deal with them through a private company marketplace. So industry consortia sponsor marketplace is a marketplace formed by several large buyers in a particular industry. Okay, so they are big buyer, right? They form a platform. Okay, so the characteristic of 5 general marketplaces forms in B2B, right? Right. So later we see. So they actually invite a good supplier, right? Invite a good supplier to the platform. Okay. Okay. So let's see the characteristic of B2B marketplace. So seller more on control the industry, seller, right? Private stores, customer portal. Okay. So buyer, this is a seller control the industry, but this one is a buyer control the industry, right? So buyer actually, they want to control the system to be more effective and more efficient. So they sponsor the system. Okay, they sponsor the system. But whereas seller control industry, okay, means more on there are many buyers, but seller only few, right? So let's say seller actually only 2 seller in the market, but there are many buyer. Okay, so buyer looking for seller. Okay, Okay, so seller actually control the industry. Okay, certain products, right? Example like online seller, many buyers like Dell, right? Dell is one example. But as compared to buyer control industry, buyer control industry means only few buyers, but there are many seller to sell to buyer. Okay, so buyer control, right? So this type industry actually is a very specific industry, right? Example like car industry, right? So the product only sell to specific buyer or customer. Okay, but seller control industry is common, right? Quite common, right? Okay, so we will do revisions, right? From chapter 5 to chapter 10, right? So we will talk. We will come back to chapter 10, right? For final revisions, right? Then we also have to do a thorough revision as well, right? After this, after the final revision conducted in other days, right? So students, thank you very much. I hope you do thorough revisions, right, for these chapters, and hope I can see you again. All right. Thank you very much.